Hey, so what I'm going to show you today is how to use the OBS Studio to do exactly what you're seeing here, to put your face in a tiny little box that, no, there's the edge of this box right here. Turn yourself into a square and be inside your PowerPoints. You can see this slideshow here that I've got. You might be wondering why I have a slideshow about zombies. This was part of the Zombie Apocalypse Medicine meeting at ASU in 2018, which really was just an excuse for me to talk about sound, consonant and dissonant sounds. Really quickly, if you're not familiar with this, down here when you're presenting, you can get a laser pointer and also other things. You can write on your slides as well with this pen. I like to use the laser pointer. It makes it just pretty much exactly like what I do actually in the classroom. I also talk with my hands a lot in addition to using the laser pointer, and that's why I like having the video of me here. So it's not just gestures a lot of times, and I'm sure a lot of you do this as well. If you're watching this, probably something that you do, but you'll make representative gestures as well to try to get your point across in a different way. So you can kind of like model concepts just with your hand gestures. When your video is just your slideshow and not you, there's something lacking that you usually bring into the classroom, and this kind of helps get closer and instill that sense of instructor presence that we're looking for. So here you can see my sounds and things like that, and the laser pointer just kind of works just like normal. Anyway, one thing I want you to notice before I show you how to use OBS Studio is my video here is kind of cutting off some of my words. And this was a talk that I gave in person at that conference, and so that explains why. I mean, I wasn't optimizing it for putting a video down in the corner, which certainly you can. You can make a little box in the slide design and make sure that you don't put any text down there, which is cool. But if you have slideshows that you already want to use and you don't want to take the time to redo them, I'll show you how to resize the windows in OBS Studio that way as well. So you're not just on top of this, you can make them two smaller screens inside of just this one video. So there's two options that you have for that. Okay, so let's jump out of this. Let's jump out of this. No, I don't want to keep my annotations. Okay, so we'll jump out of PowerPoint for now, but we'll come back. This is OBS Studio. I have a link to the OBS Studio webpage, which is obsproject.com, and there you can download this tool or this program rather, for Windows, Mac, and Linux. I haven't had an issue in any of my machines, which range from really new to not so new, in downloading OBS Studio. Before I was teaching in psych a few years ago, and I had a really old laptop, and OBS Studio ran fine on it. One thing that you might run into is a RAM issue. What's going on is your computer, well, OBS Studio is recording multiple captures at once. Each of those is eating up a portion of RAM, and so the more layers that you have in your video, the more RAM is being eaten up. Right now I've actually got two instances of OBS Studio running. One is so I can show you how to build an OBS, and the other is actually so I can record myself. And so I'm going to have to restart probably as soon as I'm done making this video. So anyway, make sure you have enough RAM to do what you want to do. And other than that, I've had no issues. All right, so this is OBS Studio. It looks a little daunting. I'm going to move my video so you can actually see everything that I've got on my screen here. This is OBS Studio. It looks daunting, but it's not. Well, it's simple. Once you figure it out, it might still look daunting, but you'll know what to do. It's not really that difficult of a program to use. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, you're going to see this black screen. And what you need to do is start adding layers to the recording. And that's really the way that it works, is in layers. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a audio capture, audio input device. You can rename any of these things that you add. So for this one, I'm going to call it Yeti. That's the name of my little microphone right here. And then you have to select. If you have multiple of these, you have to select which one it is. So I've got my audio from my computer, my laptop here. I've got audio from my webcam, and I've got audio from the actual Yeti microphone. And I want to choose the Yeti microphone. So there we go. So that's added. And now you can see down here, which wasn't there before, we're picking up some voice signal. So you can mute your desktop audio. Sometimes some of my early videos are very echoey because I didn't mute the other audio input devices. They don't really show up as recording, but sometimes they are in the background. I'll show you a fix if you're still getting echo at the end of this video. So one thing that you want to do is you want to bring down the gain on your audio input device to about right around here. There we go. That's pretty good. You want to have it so that your speaking voice is bumping right up against the bottom of the yellow. You want to be in the green and a little bit in the yellow. And that way, if you get excited, you don't go way into the red. Or if you do, it's just for a second. You really don't want to be in the yellow so that when you talk a little bit louder, you go into the red. When you get into the red, you start peaking and the audio sounds bad. So you want to be right at the very top end of green, at the right end of green, I should say. If you're too far to the left, your audio is too quiet. So this is a pretty good sweet spot right around here. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to add the display. So we want to go to display capture. Again, you can rename it. Whoa, pretty trippy. I've got two monitors running and I want to record, let's see, which one do I want to record on this one? Let's record, man, that's a tough decision. Let's record that one. Okay, so now we're recording my other monitor, so we'll click OK. Great. So now we've got audio capture, we've got the display capture. The last thing we want to add, well, one of the last things we want to add is the video capture. So I typically would add my webcam that the CHSIT guys gave me, which is one that I'm using right now, because it's a really good camera. But I can't use the same camera twice. So I have to use my webcam, my laptop webcam, which you'll see is not as good. So there's me again, and this kind of looks like a picture from 80s Polaroid kind of. So we'll click OK on that, and now you've got your video. You've got picture in picture. So one thing, I've already got this set up because I use this a lot, but sometimes your webcam is going to come in like this. It'll be full screen and it looks like your display capture has disappeared. That's not true. Remember when I said that OBS Studio works in layers? And that's true. Both layers of video are here, it's just that one is being occluded by the other. So what you can do is, if you go to display capture, you can bring this up. That looked like I just fell down a chasm. That was kind of cool. You can bring up your display capture, and now it's the top layer, but your video is occluded. You can resize these. So let's put the display capture back below this video. We're going to click on video capture, and we're going to make it small. Okay, so there's a small video. I'm going to leave it up in the left corner here, but I mean, you know, you can click and drag on this and put it literally wherever you want. You can put it in the middle of your slideshow if you want to do. So I'm going to leave it up here in the opposite corner where my other video is. This is kind of working out the working memory right now. Okay, so this is pretty much what it would look like. I want to open up a PowerPoint so you can take a look at it. Okay, so I just needed to swap presenter view and the slideshow view. So, okay, here we go. So now we have my slideshow and my picture. And again, this can be moved to wherever you want it to be. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong one. You can highlight video capture device, and you can move this. If you know that your upper left corner is going to have a lot of stuff in it, you can move over here, or wherever. But if this is all you want, this is how simple it is. All you have to do is add two different display capture, well, one display and one video capture, one audio capture, and you're off to the races. Well, I guess I should show you really quickly. Down here is where you click Start Recording. Once you click Start Recording, it records, and then it'll turn into a button that says Stop Recording. When you're ready to stop recording, you click Stop Recording, and it saves it to a default folder, which is usually in your the videos folder in your C drive. You can change that if you go to Settings. In Output and then Recording, you can change where your recording path is going. So you can put it into any area you want. So now the second thing is, what if you don't want your video overlaying any portion of this screen? So I'm going to drag myself back up to the top right here, and then let's click on Display Capture, and all you have to do is resize your display capture as well. So we're going to pull this down, and there we go. Everything can be seen. It is true that you're going to have this black bar here and this black bar here if you don't do something else. And I'll tell you what that something else is in a second. So again, if you don't want your video overlaying your presentation, but that's all that matters to you, you have now these easy steps to set up and you're good to go. But what if you want a little background back here? We can do that. We can set up a nice background behind you so that it's not just this void. You can have like a pattern, or you can even have a class heading behind you. So I'll show you how to do that. I've made in PowerPoint, you can see here at the bottom of the slideshow, two different backgrounds. This is just if you right click on the background of any slide, you can go to Format Background. This is just one of the backgrounds. So this will come up in that that black area behind my video. It looks okay. It works. This one I'm a little bit more proud of. This is another slide that I just put some text on. And so if you want to do it this way, you'll actually have this header that remains static as you flip through pages. I'm going to show you what both of those look like. I'm going to do it in two PowerPoint windows, but you could do it with, you could save these as a JPEG and use that, but it's up to you, whichever way works best. What you're going to do to get this is you're going to add another thing to your video called a window capture. So let me show you where that is. Right here, window capture. First, I want to go to PowerPoint. I was already in PowerPoint. And I'm going to play from the current slide. And let's add window capture. I'm going to call it. So my like I said, the issues with RAM that I'm having, my video stopped when I added that window capture. So I want to show you what I did. I added this. I called it back G just for background. And I had to change the input method, the capture method, to be able to actually see this, which is one of the things that comes up occasionally when you're using this method. So if I go to settings, you can see here capture method. I've set it to Windows Graphics Capture, and that's where you want to be if you want to capture a PowerPoint window. We didn't have to do this before because we're using display capture. And that's just capturing what's on the display. Anything that was on the display was captured. When we're doing window capture, it doesn't need to be on the display. It can be just up anywhere. And so that is why it's a little bit different. What it was on originally was automatic. I don't want it on automatic, and bit doesn't work either. But Windows Graphics Capture is the one that you want. So you want to be on Windows Graphics Capture. Now, to make sure that that doesn't quit on me again, I'm going to just keep it selected the way I have. Okay, so it looks like I've obliterated my other two windows. I haven't. Remember, everything comes in layers. So what I want to do, background is the latest thing I added, so it's going to be the top layer. So what I want to do is click on background right here, and then click on my down arrow, which is going to move it down below video capture, and now it's going to move it down below display capture. Now I've got a little green background. And if I bring up my, there we go. So now I can flip through my slideshow. I'm here, and my slideshow is there. And now I've got a background that looks a little bit better than just this void. But again, it's not necessarily the absolute best job that I could do. So I'm going to go back to my other PowerPoint where this slideshow is playing. I'm going to advance forward, and there we go. So now you can see I've got my words, my little header that I've made here, an agenda or whatever you want to put on the side. And those aren't going to change. So I can flip through my slideshow as I'm talking, and I just have this static background that doesn't change. Clearly I need to do a little bit of work. Some of my words have been cut off. My title isn't quite centered. But you can play around with that in PowerPoint until you get the look exactly right. Okay, that's pretty much it. The next things that are on this video are two little troubleshooting methods. One, if you're getting audio echo, and two, if you're not able to get your display capture to work. Okay, so I've got rid of the other things on there in the essence of saving my computer from overwhelming itself. If you are getting audio echo, what's happening is you've only got one microphone going, but OBS Studio occasionally will turn on another microphone just because of default settings. What you want to do is go to settings, and that will load, there we go, and go to audio, and then you want to disable everything in here. Some things are going to be set to default, you want to disable them. And then what I do is I set my desktop audio to my Yeti microphone. Whatever input device you're using. If you're using your laptop audio device, you want to have your laptop audio device there. If you're using your webcam, you know, the good one that actually has the speaker in it, you want to set it to that webcam. Whatever. You want to make sure that your top priority is set to those to that input device, and then disable everything else. Then you should get a really nice clear signal without any echoing. Okay, so that is that. Now the next problem that you might have is a little different. In fact, what you might have when you do your display capture is you end up with a black screen like this. Nothing's coming in. Well, to fix that, you don't actually need to see what I'm going to do on here, because it's not a fix in OBS Studio. It's a fix with your Windows computer. This only works on Windows. If it's happening with Mac, I'm actually not sure how to fix that. But if you're using a Windows, then this should take care of the issue. All right, so if you're getting a black screen when you go to display capture, what's going on is a lot of Windows laptops have two graphics cards. They've got an onboard graphics, and then they've got like a better graphics card. Certain things are set up to run differently. Display is usually set up to run the less powerful graphics card, and then you know, like crazy stuff like video editing software and video games and things like that are set up to run on the more sophisticated graphics processor. And all that you need to do is tell OBS Studio which graphics processor you want to use at which time. So you hit your Windows key, and then you want to type in. So again, the video cut out because I've been overtaxing it, but what I've typed in is graphics settings right here. Just hit the Windows key, type in graphics settings, and open something that looks a little bit like this. Yours won't have OBS Studio here. I've added that in because I needed to change what's going on with OBS. What you'll do is click Browse, and I'm clicking on the wrong window. So you'll click Browse, and then you're going to have to find OBS Studio. OBS Studio is usually in your C drive under Program Files, OBS Studio, Bin, 64-bit, and then click on this OBS 64.exe file. Once you click on that and hit Add, it's going to show up here where mine is. You're not done. Click on OBS Studio and go to Options. And then you can see what I was talking about with the two processors. So you've got a power saving GPU, which is your onboard graphics, and then your second one is this high performance GPU, which is this NVIDIA other graphics card. The display always runs through the onboard graphics, but OBS, one of the main functions of OBS is people streaming on Twitch and things like that who are playing video games. So it defaults to high performance, but we want to default it the other way because we're nerds. So you want to click on power saving and then click save. I've already done it, so I'm going to click cancel. Then you'll end up going back to OBS Studio and nothing's changed. The reason nothing has changed is because you have to close OBS Studio and then reopen OBS Studio. When you do that, it resets all of its preferences and file dependencies and things like that, and now it knows to use the correct graphics processor to capture your display. Once you've done that, you're off to the races, and you can do everything in the first part of this video to record your class the way you want to. All right, so hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully this makes teaching online a little bit more fun. And if not more fun, then maybe more bearable. I think it's actually kind of fun. But all right, see you later.